Avoid dialysis. 6 common foods destroying your kidneys. That can of soup in your pantry for decades has felt like a safe, simple choice in a world of complex nutritional advice. It's been a reliable backup on busy weeknights and a cornerstone on tight budgets. It makes perfect sense why we've trusted it. But what if that trusted convenience came with hidden costs we didn't know about? What if it was affecting our kidneys in ways we never expected? A comprehensive 2025 meta-analysis examining data from 19,645 patients found that a high intake of ultra-processed foods, where canned goods are a major player, was associated with about an 18% increased risk of developing chronic kidney disease, or CKD for short. This research opens an important conversation that deserves our serious attention. If canned foods deserve a second look, what other everyday choices might benefit from closer examination? Some foods we've always considered healthy may need rethinking when it comes to kidney wellness. Before we start the countdown, make a guess in the comments. What do you think is the #1 worst food for your kidneys? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and unmask the 6 common foods that could be destroying your kidneys, and the #1 culprit might be the most surprising of all. Just so you know, everything in this video is grounded in peer-reviewed research, completely free from marketing bias or miracle cure claims. We've sifted through the science so you can make smart, informed decisions about your health. Before we continue, an important note. We're not a doctor, and this information is educational, not medical advice. Every person's kidney health situation is unique. The guidance we'll discuss today represents general patterns from research, but your individual path should always be determined with your healthcare team who can review your specific blood work and create a personalized plan. Think of this video as a starting point for conversations with your doctor, not a replacement for personalized medical care. Now, let me clarify what you'll get from this video. The recommendations here lean toward caution, especially for those with moderate to advanced kidney concerns, roughly stage 3 through 5 CKD. If you're in earlier stages, focused on prevention, or have a family history of kidney disease, these foods aren't necessarily off limits, but understanding their effects helps everyone make more informed choices. Throughout this video, we'll be crystal clear about which recommendations apply to which kidney function stage, what amounts are considered safe, and when you need to be extra careful. Think of this as your roadmap, not a list of absolute no's. Context is everything, and we won't leave you guessing. 6. Canned products. For decades, canned food has been the quiet hero of busy weeknights and tight budgets. But that reliability comes at a steep price, launching a two-pronged assault on your kidneys. The first threat is the one most of us know: sodium. To achieve those long shelf dates, manufacturers saturate canned goods with salt. But the second threat is the one few people talk about. It's the chemical bisphenol A, or BPA, a compound used in the can's plastic lining. BPA can migrate from the lining into food, and research suggests it may contribute to conditions that impact kidney health, including heart disease and type 2 diabetes. The good news? Many manufacturers now offer BPA-free cans, and this concern can be largely avoided by checking labels. Additionally, occasional canned food consumption presents far less concern than daily heavy use. And to be clear, the sodium threat alone is staggering. Just 1 cup of a popular canned chicken noodle soup can contain over 800 milligrams of sodium. For those managing kidney health, that's nearly half the daily recommended limit, 2,000 milligrams for CKD patients, or even stricter at 1,500 milligrams for those with high blood pressure, in just 1 serving. This isn't just high, it's a flood that forces already stressed kidneys into overdrive. Quick reminder, these sodium recommendations are most critical for those with stage 3 to 5 CKD or conditions like high blood pressure and heart disease. If you have healthy kidneys and normal blood pressure, occasionally enjoying canned soup won't harm you. Your kidneys can handle the sodium load. However, even in early stages or for prevention, Limiting ultra-processed canned goods supports overall kidney health. Check with your doctor about your specific sodium target. So what is the truly safe path forward? Start by identifying which canned items you use most frequently. Maybe it's soup, beans, or vegetables. Then make gradual swaps. For fruits and veggies, the good news is the solution is simple and already waiting in the freezer aisle. Frozen fruits and vegetables offer the same ease and longevity, but with one critical difference. They are typically flash frozen at peak ripeness, locking in nutrients without the need for added salt. But here's how to choose wisely. Always read the label. Look for packages that say vegetables only or no sauces added, and glance at the nutrition facts to ensure the sodium content is low. Check the nutrition label. Sodium should be 0 to 10 milligrams per serving. For soups, frozen soup bases, or making big batches at home to freeze in portions works beautifully. Coming to beans, dried beans are the gold standard if you have time. Soak overnight, cook in bulk, and freeze portions. No time? Canned beans can work with this trick. Drain and rinse them thoroughly under running water for 2 to 3 minutes, which removes about 40% of the sodium. These simple swap benefits all stages of kidney health, from prevention through stage 5. Even if you're on dialysis with different sodium targets, reducing processed sodium sources while getting sodium from more natural foods is generally beneficial. 5. Red meat. Arriving at number 5 is a food at the center of decades of health debates: red meat. While much attention focuses on red meat's impact on heart health and cancer risk, there's another important consideration. Its effects on kidney function deserve equal attention. The secret lies in a phenomenon we call the diagnostic smokescreen. It's like a trick that can confuse your lab results. Here's how it works. The creatinine in red meat converts into creatinine when cooked, creating a temporary artificial spike in your bloodstream after a meal. Since creatinine levels help measure kidney function, a recent red meat meal can temporarily elevate these numbers, potentially leading to follow-up tests. While many doctors are aware of this, patients often are not. If you have kidney lab work scheduled, you might want to skip red meat for 24 to 48 hours beforehand. Beyond the temporary lab effects, longer-term research shows a genuine concern worth taking seriously. Its high phosphorus content, which damaged kidneys struggle to filter out, can lead to dangerous accumulation in the blood. A 3-ounce serving of cooked beef contains about 150 to 200 milligrams of phosphorus, while pork provides around 200 to 250 milligrams. For those with CKD, the recommended daily phosphorus intake is typically 800 to 1,000 milligrams, meaning just 3 to 4 servings of red meat could easily max out or exceed this limit. When kidneys can't properly remove excess phosphorus, it builds up in the bloodstream, pulling calcium from bones and depositing it in blood vessels, which increases the risk of heart disease and weakens bone structure. Also, eating meat can lead to the production of harmful compounds like TMAO, or trimethylamine N-oxide, and uremic toxins during protein metabolism. Plus, processed red meats often contain phosphate additives and excessive sodium as preservatives, creating a triple threat that accelerates kidney function decline and increases cardiovascular complications in CKD patients. Does this apply to all CKD stages? The long-term kidney damage from high red meat intake is a concern for everyone. That said, stages 3 to 5 face the highest stakes, as their kidneys have less reserve to handle the metabolic load from frequent red meat consumption. So, while the smokescreen is temporary, the fire is real. And it's important to know the link between high red meat intake and kidney disease isn't just a fringe theory. It's a well-documented concern in the medical community, confirmed by major cohort studies. In one significant study of people who already had CKD, researchers found that replacing one weekly serving of red meat with poultry, fish, or plant protein was associated with a 62% lower relative risk of progressing to end-stage kidney disease. This benefit appeared strongest in those with moderate to advanced CKD, making the substitution particularly worth considering if you're in that group. Let's make this actionable. One serving means about 3 ounces cooked meat, roughly the size of a deck of cards. Here's how to make the swap work in real life. If you want a plant-based option, try tofu, tempeh, or small portions of legumes if your potassium allows. Other kidney-friendly protein alternatives are unprocessed, skinless chicken or turkey breast, which is lower in fat and phosphorus additives. You can also try having fish like salmon, cod, tilapia, or pollock 2 to 3 times per week, and choose wild-caught ones when possible, as farm-raised can have phosphate additives. And hey, if this feels helpful so far, let us know you're out there by tapping that like button. It tells us to keep making content just like this. 4. Potatoes and sweet potatoes. Arriving at number 4 is a tale of 2 vegetables. For years, we've been told to choose the sweet potato over the white potato, believing it's the smarter health choice. And for most people, that advice is sound. But when it comes to kidney health, that debate misses a more important point. The bigger consideration isn't the color of the potato, it's the potassium content that both varieties share. So just how much are we talking about? A single medium-baked potato with skin contains about 926 milligrams of potassium. And the celebrated sweet potato? It's another potassium bomb. A half-cup serving of the canned variety packs, over 450 milligrams. And while the form is different, the point remains the same. Both are incredibly rich sources of potassium that demand caution. For those with stage 4 to 5 CKD, where potassium often needs limiting to around 2,000 to 2,500 milligrams daily, that's nearly half the day's allowance in one food. At these stages, kidneys lose their ability to filter potassium efficiently, causing dangerous blood levels that can affect heart rhythm. Stages 1 to 3 patients typically don't need potassium restrictions unless blood tests show elevated levels, and many people in these stages have completely normal potassium. Still, others in the same stage need strict limits. High or low potassium levels can both be dangerous, so always let your lab work, not your stage alone, guide this decision. If your doctor has prescribed a 2,000 milligram daily potassium limit, that potato is indeed nearly half your day's allowance. Note that dialysis changes nutritional needs significantly. Some restrictions loosen while others tighten. If you're on dialysis, work closely with your dialysis center's dietitian for guidance specific to your treatment type and schedule. Fortunately, science has given us a simple technique to diffuse these potassium bombs. It's leaching. Here's how it works. Peel your potatoes completely, slice into 1/8-inch thick pieces, or dice into small 1/4-inch cubes, then soak them in warm water for at least 2 hours, or overnight for best results. Change the water once or twice if soaking longer. Drain, rinse, then boil them in fresh water until tender. This process can reduce potassium content by up to 50%, making potatoes more kidney-friendly. Just remember, leached potatoes work best for those with moderate potassium restrictions. If your doctor has you on strict limits, like under 1,500 milligrams daily, check in first. Also, leaching removes some nutrients along with potassium, a worthwhile trade-off when medically necessary but not needed if your potassium levels are normal. Curious about the science behind it all? We've linked the studies that support everything we've shared. You'll find them down in the description box. 3. Spinach. At number 3, we have a nutritional powerhouse, a green so synonymous with health. Spinach. If you love green smoothies or healthy salads, you know it well. You've also likely heard of its one known flaw. It's linked to kidney stones caused by compounds called oxalates. For context, health experts generally recommend limiting oxalate intake to around 40 to 50 milligrams per day for those at risk of kidney stones, while some suggest staying under 100 milligrams daily for the general population. Here's the catch. A single cup of cooked spinach contains approximately 750 milligrams of oxalates. That's 15 to nearly 19 times the recommended limit for at-risk individuals. Even raw spinach packs about 656 milligrams per cup, making it one of the highest oxalate foods you can eat. But what if that well-known risk was only the tip of the iceberg? There's a rarer but more serious condition called oxalate nephropathy that differs from typical kidney stones. While kidney stones are solid deposits that can block urinary flow, oxalate nephropathy involves oxalate crystal accumulation within the kidney tissue itself. This can lead to inflammation and, in severe cases, impact kidney function and cause tissue changes. It's important to note, this condition is quite rare and typically occurs only with extremely high oxalate intake. Think multiple cups of concentrated spinach juice daily. Certain genetic conditions, late-stage kidney disease, or malabsorption disorders like inflammatory bowel disease or gastric bypass surgery. This sounds terrifying, and it is. But here's where knowledge turns fear into power. Honestly, oxalate concerns are overstated for most CKD patients. Stages 1 to 3 can generally enjoy spinach with portion control. Even stages 4 to 5 face greater concerns from spinach's high potassium content than from oxalates. There is also an elegant, scientifically proven strategy to disarm these oxalates. It's not about avoidance, it's about smart pairing. The secret lies in pairing your spinach with a calcium-rich food. Calcium and oxalates bind together in your digestive system, forming a compound that passes through rather than being absorbed into your bloodstream. It's a natural partnership that makes both nutrients safer. What does smart pairing look like? Aim for roughly 1-to-1 calcium to oxalate ratio. For example, try half a cup of raw spinach, containing about 328 milligrams oxalate, paired with 3/4 cup plain yogurt, or 1.5 ounces of cheese, which provides about 300 milligrams calcium. Some dairy-free calcium sources are fortified plant milk with 300 milligrams calcium per cup, calcium-set tofu that contains about 200 to 400 milligrams per half cup, or chia seeds with 180 milligrams calcium in just 2 tablespoons. The key is consuming them in the same meal, not hours apart. Also helpful, cooking spinach, like in a cheese omelet, reduces oxalate content by 30 to 50% compared to eating it raw. Or else opt for lower oxalate greens when you want a break from pairing. Arugula, romaine lettuce, bok choy, cabbage, or iceberg lettuce. And note that besides oxalate, mineral content is still a concern here. Those with stages 3 to 4 CKD should discuss portion sizes with their dietitian, especially if dealing with both potassium and oxalate concerns. Stage 5 or on dialysis often requires more significant green leafy restriction, as both potassium and phosphorus, which is also in spinach, become harder to manage. 2. Dairy products. Dairy is a category that presents an interesting paradox for kidney health. For our entire lives, we've been told that drinking milk is the single best thing we can do for our bones. But for those with advanced CKD, the relationship between dairy and bone health becomes more complex. When kidneys can't effectively filter phosphorus, levels build up in the blood. To maintain balance, the body naturally pulls calcium from bone stores, creating an unintended consequence where the calcium-rich food actually contributes to bone weakening over time. The National Kidney Foundation, or NKF, recommends that patients with stage 4 to 5 CKD carefully monitor dairy intake due to phosphorus concerns. But here's an important nuance. This doesn't necessarily mean zero dairy for everyone in these stages. Management depends on your actual serum phosphorus levels. If your labs show normal phosphorus, small amounts of dairy may be acceptable. If levels are elevated and you're on phosphorus binders prescribed by your doctor, follow their instructions carefully. These medications help manage phosphorus from food, but they're not a free pass to eat unlimited high phosphorus foods. For stages 1 to 3, phosphorus typically isn't restricted unless labs indicate otherwise. However, if you have both chronic kidney disease and cardiovascular disease, a common companion, earlier attention to phosphorus makes sense, as vascular calcification develops gradually. A renal dietitian can help you understand exactly how much dairy, if any, fits your specific situation. If you need strict phosphorus control, this is where a simple choice in the grocery store can make a profound difference. The safer, smarter option is a plant-based milk that is unfortified. Compare the numbers. A glass of dairy milk has around 250 milligrams of phosphorus, while a glass of unfortified almond or cashew milk can have less than 20, yet you may want to watch the oxalate and potassium content. Macadamia milk is more kidney-friendly with just 20 milligrams phosphorus and 50 milligrams of potassium. Rice milk is another low phosphorus and low potassium option, but higher in carbs. Soy and oat milk has more protein than almond milk, but also more phosphorus and potassium. It's best to use them sparingly. If you truly want to keep some dairy, portion control may help. Choose naturally lower phosphorus options like cream cheese, which provides 60 milligrams per 2 tablespoons, brie, containing 95 milligrams per ounce, ricotta, that offer 113 milligrams per quarter cup. Limit to 1 small serving daily instead of 3 servings, and use stronger flavored cheeses like sharp cheddar or Parmesan. To be sure you're getting the right kind, you have to read the label. Look at the ingredients list. If you see any word that contains phos, like tricalcium phosphate, that's the one to avoid. It's a simple check that turns a potential threat into a truly safe choice. 1. Refined grains. At number 1, we have refined grains: white bread, white rice, and white pasta. For years, these were actually considered the safer choice for people with kidney disease. The thinking seemed logical. Whole grains contain more phosphorus and potassium in their bran and germ, so stripping those away through refining should make them more kidney-friendly. It made perfect sense on paper. But as is often the case in science, when that theory was actually tested with real-world data, the results were stunning. A 2024 landmark study called the CRIC study, following thousands of CKD patients over time, put this theory to the ultimate test. What they found challenged decades of assumptions. Whole grain consumption showed no link to worse kidney outcomes. But refined grains? Higher intake of white bread, white rice, and pasta was associated with increased risk of kidney disease progression and mortality. The very foods we thought were more protective turned out to be the ones deserving caution. Why would refined grains show this pattern? Researchers believe several factors are at play. When you strip away the fiber-rich bran and germ, what remains causes rapid blood sugar spikes, much faster than whole grains. These repeated glucose surges may trigger inflammation that affects kidney health over time. Additionally, the fiber and nutrients in whole grains support better metabolic health overall, benefits that refined grains simply can't offer. The dangerous levels of phosphorus and potassium in whole grains? They're bound to phytates that actually reduce how much your body absorbs, making the theoretical concern less significant in practice. So what does this mean for your plate? For most people with CKD, like stages 1 through 3, and even many in stage 4 with normal mineral levels, whole grains remain the better choice. The fiber, B vitamins, and metabolic benefits outweigh concerns about phosphorus and potassium, especially since much of those minerals aren't fully absorbed anyway. Stick with whole wheat bread, brown rice, quinoa, and whole grain pasta. For those who are at stage 5 or on dialysis, this is where individual labs truly dictate choices. Some tolerate whole grains fine with binders. Others need more refined options. The key here is never default to refined grains just because you have kidney disease. Let your actual blood work guide you. If your minerals are well controlled, whole grains offer significant benefits. If your labs do indicate you need more refined grains, here's how to manage the blood sugar concern. Always pair with protein and healthy fats to slow digestion. Add fiber from low potassium vegetables like green beans, cabbage, or cauliflower, and cook pasta al dente for lower glycemic impact. And remember, whether refined or whole, grains contribute far less phosphorus than dairy or meat. A slice of bread, even whole wheat at 65 milligrams phosphorus, is a fraction of what's in a glass of milk at 200 to 250 milligrams. Keep perspective on which foods truly drive your totals. Takeaway. So after this journey, what is the ultimate lesson? It isn't to memorize a list of bad foods, it's to embrace a deeper truth, that in the world of kidney health, even the most trusted foods, from the convenient can of soup to the celebrated superfood, can hide a dark side. This leads us to a profound shift in thinking. The goal isn't to memorize rigid rules of good and bad foods and live in fear. It's not to make drastic changes based on general information alone. It's to understand that context matters and to work as an informed partner with your healthcare team. It's the difference between being a passive follower of advice and an active protector of your own health. And with the knowledge you've gained today, that is exactly what you now are. You have the insight to look beyond the health halos and ask the right questions. You are the expert. This path forward is now yours, and we would be honored to walk it with you. We would love to hear from you in the comments. What was the most surprising food on this list for you? And what is one small change you plan to make? Every story inspires our entire community. And if this journey has empowered you, consider subscribing to continue it with us. We want to thank you for being here, for listening, for having the courage to embark on this journey of discovering what truly benefits your health. A journey that isn't easy but is worth more than anything else. Hit the bell icon and turn on all notifications so you never miss a life-saving video. The sooner you spot kidney issues, the more you can do to keep things under control. If you're unsure about your kidney health and haven't been in a good shape recently, check out the video on the screen. Here, we cover all the possible symptoms, helping you spot kidney failure and take action effectively if needed. See you there. Stay informed, stay healthy,